And I saw Paweł also, he was somewhere. If Paweł Kuskowski from Coinfirm would be somewhere?
Yes, he is here. He will be there in the
He'll be
moment,
here.
so-
Okay, so I'm just going to start with the introduction of our very good panelists, and then we'll just try to start when Paweł is going to be here. So first, how do we have to start? From the order, or let's just start from our neighbor, right? Let's just start with Patryk. So, a serial entrepreneur and the director of the strategic development at G2A, a fintech specialist. We spent more than 7 years in .pay, and that says a lot about the payments also, and responsible for the business development of the credit tech in the Polish market. So I just hope that was the right introduction for that.
Yes, briefly, you got all the positions I held and the fintech involvement from early 2000s. So right now we are in a great times. We're building the future of the blockchain, and the fintech will be totally different territories that we're gonna approach. So I'm happy to be here with you.
Very good. So Paweł is also on time. So I really feel like if you guys would introduce yourself, you're more professional at introducing yourself, I will take the rest out of you. So Paweł, if you can introduce yourself, I will just go with the rest.
So Paweł Kuskowski, pleasure to be here. I'm CEO and co-founder of Coinfirm. We implement blockchain technology for financial sector, but also broader. We provide primarily so-called RegTech solutions, so everything which is technology applied for regulations. Two platforms. One platform is the AML solution for cryptocurrency payments, and second is a little bit more into the authentication of documents and securing that the transactions basically in documents are registered in the right way. So we've been on the market almost 2 years, and I'm glad to be here.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Roger Haenni. I'm one of the co-founders and the CEO of Datum. We are a decentralized data marketplace for structured data. So I just gave the talk before, but we started about 6 months ago. And we're building this on top of Ethereum and using our own blockchain on the side. And previously, I have 17 years experience in big data, telecom, and software architecture.
My name is Kiyoung from South Korea. I'm a co-founder and head of sales in Aston. I'm here to claim the standardization of ICO evaluation, because Korea has banned ICO recently, and I really want to fight for these regulations happening across the globe. Thank you.
Perfect. First, I want to clarify both sides of the aisle, right? So first of all, how many of you guys currently have an open ICO? Good. So how many of you are planning to have ICO maybe in the future, or an unforeseen future? So you want to, yes. So that's where I want you guys to understand where we are going to be here. And the other part also, I want you guys to somehow participate a little bit. And I'm just going to start with easy questions, and then we're just going to make it a little bit more complicated. So how many of you guys are in the fintech ecosystem, generally speaking, just with a raise of hand? Okay, so you guys are not going to be there, but I really feel like there's going to be more than 10% of the people here. And how many of you have anyhow related to the blockchain? Okay, so I just hope that more people are going to basically be interested into the whole topic. I'm just going to also ask a very easy question: that how many of you think that the whole ICO and the blockchain is a bubble? Okay, so it's a very positive. People, or like we have to basically take these questions out of them in some other ways. So we want to start a little bit, not to talk about it as a way of more in the financial sector, but rather from the topic that we're exactly right now here. First, I want to talk about what I asked from the audience, and I want to just try to back into our conversation, that we're not going to have a black and white conversation, right? We're not going to say that, okay, so the blockchain is the future, maybe we say it is, and then we say that there are good ICOs that we already, hopefully at least, like Emmanuel, you guys, at least we're gonna have one or two perfect one of them. So we want to start from the blockchain, that why you think the blockchain is the future, and then we can try to build a conversation around that. So anybody who wants to just talk, and then we can try to just move on.
Yeah, so I think blockchain brings two things to the table, or solves two problems. One is it disintermediates trust. So what that means, if you're a group of people that wants to achieve something or has a common goal, but you can't really trust one single actor in that group, you can use blockchain to solve that. The other thing is through building systems that incentivize users of your ecosystem. So that's where the tokens come into play. So it can be a way to reward people that run this network, that run the blockchain for you, and also then provide utility to the participants of that blockchain.
And maybe I can ask Paweł, especially because of his background in a more fundamental part of that. How much do you think that a coin-based blockchain is important for the whole blockchain industry?
Wow, that's a complicated question. Now, I think that the incentive part, what you mentioned, is actually quite important. So that's why, at the end, blockchain it's primarily around exchanging value, right, in a secure way. So the coin is more the reflection of this, its visibility of basically what is kind of value which is being exchanged, because everything at the end is a value. Like we have like basic attention tokens. So your attention could be transformed into certain value, and the coin is the reflection of this particular value. So this is the coin is basically almost necessary for blockchain ecosystem, which is not supported by big players, but is basically by the community. Is almost you need to have the coin to exchange this kind of value and to create the network. And this is also a great reconciliation process, right? So transparency brings transparency, bring trust, and etc. and etc. And so everything what you would hope for, in the traditional financial sector would be there, right? And the coin is, as I said, it's a raw reflection. Obviously, you need to have regulations which are, talking about AML, right? My favorite topic. Anti-money laundering, counter-terrorist financing, which you need to, whenever you exchange value, you need to think about this kind of aspects. But at the end, it's, coin is just a reflection of the value which would be otherwise, transported.
Okay. But I mean, I basically asked because you have true Datum, that it's not somehow related to the, to the coin-based transactions via blockchain, and also the AML part of that is somehow related. That was basically.
But there is underlying, which is, still a coin. So there is still underlying. We slightly use this in a different context, but for every document which we sign, we burn tokens to do this. So it's kind of this is the way you would.
And also from Patryk, because first of all you have an experience in the payment systems for a long time, and at the same time also yesterday we saw another very interesting presentation about having more than 200 different methods of payment. But at the same time, right now the blockchain is at least claiming to be the future of the payment. So how do you see this transaction or the transition from right now to where we're going to see ourselves in the future?
Right, so first of all, I'm just quite new to the blockchain. My colleagues here are raising the business based on blockchain. What we are trying to do, and I personally want to adopt the existing businesses and the existing problems versus the blockchain. Yeah? So what we can address, what problems we can solve in many areas of the business. It's trading, it's trust, it's documents, a lot of things. And currently we are investigating how we can do it at G2A in the marketplace. So marketplace is one thing that, matter of trust, so there are parties. And ultimately if we adopt blockchain in a way that it should be, so when we exclude third parties, you could say that the marketplaces, such places like marketplaces, shouldn't exist. So we are trying to adopt it in a way that fintech, all the financial transactions become seamless, and blockchain allows that. We have different layers of that. So there's a security, there's a speed of transactions, there's a formerly it was escrow, so it's kind of an escrow. Smart contracts conduct this feature. So for me, also the blockchain, or not even bitcoins, but all the alternative coins could be kind of a carrier between all other payment methods. And for us, we grew the reach of G2A by accessing the markets which are underbanked sometimes. For example, in India we go with a physical code distribution, and pay and delivery. So I think blockchain is also good in a way to reach the countries which are underbanked. So it's like a leapfrog for many countries. For example, in Africa, they are already doing the mobile payments. So for them, it's really easy to adapt the blockchain technology if it's delivered in a very easy way. This is what our mission is right now, to adapt it in a way that everyone can use it. Not many people from fintech, from the industry, trying to figure out how to adopt blockchain, and I don't know if maybe 15% of people really know how to use it, and I'm still also learning.
I mean, talking about different markets and different countries, I was just trying to talk to Kiyoung because we were talking about the fact that you moved from South Korea to a different market just in order to adapt yourself with the regulations. So I was just wondering about two different parts of the question. One would be about the idea of why do you think some governments are somehow having a problem with an ICO and some do not have that? And the other one, because we have a good diversity of the people from their background, where do you think would be the best place for the time being to be as an ICO? So first you can talk about your personal experience and all the the complications that came up with it. And the second, how do you recommend it? And then we can try to just pass it to other people in the panel.
1 year ago, Korea did not regulate ICOs. Actually, they were very positive to accept the ICOs and Bitcoin cryptocurrencies into Korean economy. But all those damages from the frauds and the scams that they have stole money from the ICOs because they didn't have much framework for a guideline for an ICO. So there were a lot of money lost in the midst of the ICOs, and that's why the government kicked in to have those regulations. So, but it's not that they are not limited to participate in ICO in Korea, but a lot of companies are going out to foreign countries to have their foundation in other countries in order to start this ICO. And that is not a big problem at all right now. The second question, as you said, I think Estonia or Ukraine would be the best place to have ICO because we had a lot of consultations with law firms in Switzerland and Singapore, but many of them has still skeptical about this ICOs, and they are actually freezing the bank accounts of the companies that are having ICOs without complying the guidelines suggested by the government.
Okay, I mean, I think maybe Paweł, because you just came back from Singapore, right?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, so maybe you can also just have some more insight to that.
So last Friday they published MAS published the regulator in Singapore. They published kind of guidance for token issuance. So worth looking. I think it's so far as the best or the most light touch regulations which you can see. And I met with the regulator in Singapore. And from what I saw, the knowledge which they have is really good. And I think in many countries, lack of knowledge is the main problem, because it's kind of if you call someone a coin, that coin is not anything which would be related to. So anyone who is investing in that coin, stop it. Don't do this. It's like it's not cryptocurrency. It's a scam. It's basically that you call someone a horse. It's not necessarily a horse. So basically, it's I think this is something which when you have knowledge in terms of regulator and the market which is grown into the certain decision making, I think it's a matter of basically having good product and good idea behind the project. I think Singapore is good. Similarly, Gibraltar is really moving into the space. Switzerland, I will stay away from Switzerland, and Ukraine. Well, I think also. So I wouldn't be so. You need somewhere when you can actually rely on certain way of approaching things for generations as opposed to weeks or on months. So I think
As we're in Poland, you can also mention at least like on a positive or a negative way. How do you see Poland also?
Well, we had announcement on the KNF, which is the Polish regulator, announced that you need to be careful when you do, because there's some projects which are not good. But the most worrying part is the Polish central bank, which is a national Polish bank. So this is something which is more into we believe in blockchain, but we don't want to see cryptocurrency. Well, it doesn't work this way. So it's something which is
This also came back from the World Bank, so if that would be the case, I wouldn't be very much worried about what is happening in Poland, because we exactly heard the same thing from the.
But it's more, when you are saying this to the market, that you need to be, or to the other regulators, you need to be careful about this particular subject, and more when you say to the market, be careful, we don't support anything which is happening. It's stopping basically innovation, and these projects are all about innovations. So sometimes they innovate to collect the money from the market, which you should avoid, but it's very good.
If you don't mind, because we had a lot of things about Switzerland, I just want to give a little bit of few minutes for at least for our Swiss friend to just defend it or just accept it, right?
Yeah, so I'm from Switzerland. Our company is based out of Switzerland, and so we are running our ICO from Switzerland. I think what is special in Switzerland that a dialogue with the regulator is possible. They actually have an email address, and if you send an email there, you actually get a response within 24 hours. So I would challenge other the right locations to have this kind of responsive regulator. Then there's also a bit about the mechanics, how it works in Switzerland. So the big question in any jurisdiction is what is considered a utility token and what is considered a security. So in Switzerland at the moment, if you plan to do a token sale, you basically deposit your intention with the regulator. You tell them what you want to do, and if you think it's a utility or a security, and you're basically waiting to try and get some sort of comment or statement out of them. And this has happened for the first few projects now. And so in our case, we have also deposited our intention maybe about 2 months ago, so we're expecting to get a response soon.